I'm really, like I said, I'm glad to be here. And the theme of our retreat tonight, living the promise of God with us, is just one that I think is so near and dear, not only to my heart, but I bet many of our hearts. And when I was preparing for the retreat and kind of praying about this and talking to different colleagues just about what's going on, what are we holding in life? And this phrase of, it's not supposed to be this way, kept coming up, right? Has anybody said that, or some version of, it's not supposed to be this way? It's not supposed to be this way that we're gathered virtually for a retreat, right? But we are. It's not supposed to be this way that, here we are 9-10 months later with COVID still happening. There's all these, it's not supposed to be this way. And even if I think in the last handful of days, right, closer, not ministry related, just more into personal life, there's been a friend that's lost a dad recently to COVID, right? Today, one of my best friends' mom entered hospice, right, was given her last rights and all. There's all of this, it's not supposed to be this way. And yet, in it, we've got God who is with us. And so where I want us to start tonight is just one of the first reminders of how we can experience God with us, right? And it's God with us in our seeing, right? So y'all know that beautiful song, "Oh Holy Night," right? We all know that one. We've probably started singing it in some senses. But I love the line where it talks about the weary world, right? The weary world, and it says rejoices. But I want us to start with acknowledging this great promise and gift that God sees what we see, right? Part of this promise of God with us is God with us in our seeing. So I want you to think about this beautiful meditation, and it's on, if y'all have that little workbook I sent, if you're a visual reader, you can look at it on page 1. But St. Ignatius of Loyola gives us this beautiful meditation on the incarnation, right? The season that we are living, Advent, moving towards the incarnation. And what Ignatius invites us to do is to imagine, so this is the moment before the incarnation happens. It's to imagine the Trinity, Father, Son, Spirit, or Creator God, Son, Spirit, looking down upon the world, right? So think for a moment, back to the moment before Gabriel was sent to Mary. And what might the Trinity have seen? And what Ignatius invites us to imagine is all the things, and you can see them on that sheet. I won't read them all, but imagine hearing people laughing and crying, some people being born, some people dying, some people getting sick, some super healthy, people getting married, divorced, the young, the old, the rich, the sad, right? And he says, imagine the Trinity hearing and seeing the groaning of creation, right? Can y'all imagine that for a minute? Just what the Trinity saw. And then they say, in a leap of divine joy, right? So again, this moment right before the incarnation happens, they decide it's time to respond to the groaning of creation. And what they do is decide to send the angel Gabriel to Our Lady. And so when you think about this meditation on the incarnation, like God saw us, saw the world, saw the weariness of the world, and chose to enter into it. So before we go any further, right, when I do a retreat, I never want it to be high in the sky. I want it boots on the ground. I'm from the South. I want you to think about right now, like close your eyes for just a second and imagine the Trinity looking down upon our world right now. Right? Let it run through your mind as you imagine the Father, the Son, the Spirit looking down upon us. What might they see? What do you want to remember that they see with you? Right? What parts of the world, maybe the weariness of the world, do you want to remember that they see also? So I'm going to invite us into some small group sharing, right? We're going to start here and we're going to build out from what we're naming. And in a minute, when Mike opens up our breakout rooms, I want you to do two things. First, introduce yourself if y'all don't know each other. Simply say who you are. I'd like the person who ate chocolate closest to go first in your sharing. If you've eaten chocolate closest to Thursday night, you get to be the first sharer. Introduce yourself, where you're from. And then once everybody's introduced themselves, just take a minute to share what you think the Trinity is seeing right now.